And setting up. All right, so we are live. So good evening, everybody. Welcome to the November School Improvement Council meeting for Dutchman Creek Middle School. All right, so we're all live. I got an echo because I had it up on the other end. My apologies. All right, so we'll get started, guys. Mr. Slater, I'll go ahead and put up the agenda. It's pretty much the same thing in the same order, and then we'll take an opportunity to see if everyone is okay and we'll approve the agenda. But our typical order is opening, and then we'll have a report from the school, and then we'll look at if we have any outstanding old business, any new business, and then also if we have anything else that we need to address as a school improvement council, and go from there. So do you want to take over from here, Mr. Slater, or you want me to go ahead and drive the meeting?
Go ahead and drive the bus for a moment.
Okay. All right. Can we get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move to approve.
All right. Can we get a second?
Second.
All right. So we got a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor? Aye. All right. Opposed? All right. None opposed. So we'll follow the agenda as outlined on the screen. So we'll begin with a report from the school. And I'll go ahead and begin. Let's first of all, I'll take the back. Let me make sure that we got everybody on. We still got Miss Massey coming in. And we're waiting on Miss SIC maybe joining us. But in the meantime, Miss Harvey, until Miss SIC come on board, do you mind taking our minutes, and then she'll pick up from there? Miss Vice Chair, former Secretary, Vice Chair. All right, thank you so much, Miss Harvey. So we are right here at the end of Q1, and for beginning the school year, not knowing what it was supposed to look like, I think that we did a fine job from my standpoint as far as adjusting to the school year, to the hybrid model, and then also being responsive to our virtual academy students. We had some rough patches in the very beginning, and we addressed the pacing. We addressed the curriculum as far as the virtual academy. Once we got Connexus on board, that was something that was fully implemented into the virtual academy. Some teachers are using it. Some teachers went ahead and continued on with the work that they developed while the virtual academy was rolling out Connexus. So as far as the academics, we've hit the ground running, and we made it all the way through. The quarter ends tomorrow. And so I anticipate that we may not have scores that are out of this world, but I cannot say enough about the efforts that have gone into making sure that we provide the best quality education for the students of Dutchman Creek as possible, given so many unknowns. Certainly appreciate the feedback from the school community when it came to, what was working, what was too much, what was too little. There was a lot of feedback that we received as far as that pacing piece. And I think that was our biggest hurdle. But overall, I'm very pleased with the fact that we had such response when it comes to our faculty and staff reaching out, doing more reaching out than waiting and receiving, so that we can provide the best for our students. We have traditionally been known as a very inclusive and very involved school community. So as evidenced by my tie-dye shirt, as evidenced by Ms. Clipper's pigtails, and Dr. Gant, I'm not sure what she has going on right there with that, and Ms. Mays. We found ways to make sure that the fun that we have as we learn is still a part of the everyday life of the Dutchman Creek Gator for our students and our staff. And so our student council sponsored, Beta Club sponsored, student council, I'm sorry. Beta Club is sponsoring the canned food drive, Clemson versus Carolina, the two sides per se. And we have a competition to raise. The goal is to raise at least 500 food items through the Beta Club. And our student council is sponsoring a spirit week, just so we can have a little extra fun as we learn here at Dutchman Creek. So today is Wacky Tacky Day. So you're not going to see the full ensemble unless you check out our Instagram, our Facebook, and our Twitter. And so you can see all of the fun pictures from Wacky Tacky Day. We had lots of participation. Not everybody, but most people participated. And tomorrow is Red, White, and Blue Day. And one of the things that's really special here at Dutchman Creek is our recognition of our military veterans. And so in the years past, the Beta Club has invited veterans in our school community to a breakfast that's sponsored by members of the Beta Club and volunteers in our school community as a way to say thank you for your service and to honor those who served in the military. But due to COVID, we had to change it up just a little bit. So we're doing a drive-through breakfast. And so we had people to donate items, and the Beta Club worked really hard to package some breakfast items for our community veterans. So we're hoping to see a line of folks coming through. Our students will be decked out. Our faculty will be decked out in red, white, and blue. And tomorrow will be a special day for us here at Dutchman Creek, in the best way possible to say thank you for your service to our community veterans. So that will be tomorrow. And then we have Throwback Thursday. Each grade level is taking a decade, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, making us all feel old. That, that's considered throwback, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And then we'll conclude Friday with heroes versus villains. And I'm not sure what the split is as far as who's a hero, who's a villain. I think it's team 1 versus team 2. So it'd be 6-1 heroes, 6-2 villains, etc., 7-1, 7-2, or whatever. So again, just an opportunity for us to have some fun here at Dutchman Creek. We did, and I'll let Dr. Gant speak to this, but we are currently screening our students with the Cognate to see those who may qualify for gifted and talented services. We are in the process of vetting our ESE and ESOL students to see if we can offer some additional support in the form of days of the week and different services we can offer that way. So, our whole motto of growing and developing leaders one child at a time, we're making sure that we're looking at each and every subgroup to make sure that we're maximizing the opportunities to grow and develop each and every student. But again, overall, very, very, very pleased with the effort. And I've never asked for perfection. And I appreciate the fact that none of us are judged based on whether or not we can perfectly execute our jobs, because all of us will be deemed as failures because none of us are perfect. But we can give that perfect effort. And so the effort, I can't say enough about the staff and their responsiveness to the students, and the students have in turn received that and have given us maximum effort. So we'll see that reflected in the report cards, and we'll kind of go from there. We'll get back, we'll take a look at that first quarter, we'll make those adjustments, and then we'll get better each and every day until we make it to day 180. So that's from me as building principal. I will go and I'll start with Mr. Mala, 6th grade, and ask Mr. Mala to share out to the school community from 6th grade.
We've had a good first quarter. With the hybrid model, it's caused confusion for some students, and we're still working through that process. one of the things some parents are having a hard time with is finding assignments and the work the students are supposed to do on their days off in the different teachers' Canvas courses. So I've spoken to Mr. Odom from the central office about how we could put that into one spot in Canvas. Maybe it's on a homeroom page, have every student in one homeroom, like per team, and then all the assignments would be there, hyperlinked. So it's just one-stop shopping for parents and students to access their work. I do see the advantages of that, especially since our Canvas pages all look a little bit different. They're not uniform. This would help our students navigate Canvas easier and our parents access and navigate Canvas easier. So that's something we'll be working on to come up with a easier model for our kids to access their work online.
Thank you, Mr. Myler. Ms. Mays, if you would report on 7th grade.
Yes, sir. I believe it's kind of the same sentiments with 7th grade in terms of parents with the navigation of Canvas and the off days. So when students are at home on their A day or B day, depending, on what day they're at home, just ensuring that they are completing those activities and those assignments. So when they do come in the next day, they are prepared of, looking at what the teachers are putting in Canvas. A lot of times it's instructional videos ahead of time, getting them geared up for the lessons for the next day. So that way, when they do come in, it's either some pre-work that they have to do or a mastery check of what they learned from the day before. So just making sure that students are completing that work while they're at home so they don't kind of fall behind. And then whenever they are here on their day, when they are face-to-face, they don't get behind by the teacher having to then re-emphasize or reinforce what they should have done the day prior while they were at home. So that's just one of the things that we're trying to navigate of looking at. And then we're, reaching out to parents, making sure we're making those parent phone calls, also with the virtual students as well. So reaching out with our virtual parents, our virtual students, making those contacts on a day-to-day basis. If anybody has any questions, I know Ms. James is holding day-to-day counseling sessions with our virtual students and also virtual counseling sessions with our face-to-face students as well. I know Mr. Brandt is heading up our shout outs and our PBIS initiatives, and that is going great. Our students are responding very well to that. I know our 7th grade students, they have, if you've noticed, some of the pictures on our Instagram have been during lunch when they're walking down to lunch. The shout out board is right there by the desks in the atrium. And so you'll see as soon as they turn that corner, they're all rushing over there to see where their names are and if they got shouted out. And then we're going around during lunch too of, making a big deal of them getting the shout outs. And then sometimes they're late going to their electives because they're looking for those shout outs. So that's working very well. And then just making sure that our teachers are emphasizing that weekly homework blast of ensuring that the parents are being notified what assignments are being sent home and what the parents should look for on their end too, to make sure they're notified, of the teachers' assignments and what the students should be doing. I know coming up, they're going to start looking at, the team celebration since Q1 is starting to end. What will that look like, especially under COVID guidelines. So we're looking at probably doing those team celebrations on the 23rd and 24th, those 2 days right before Thanksgiving for the 7th grade team celebrations. And I believe Mr. Modla was talking about the 6th grade doing those 2 days as well for those team celebrations. For all of the students for doing, an amazing job thus far, with what's going on, with the school year thus far.
All righty. Thank you, Ms. Mays. And Ms. Miller, if you will report out on 8th grade.
I'm sorry, before you go to 8th grade, Ms. Mays, could you repeat the dates that you said for the team celebrations?
Yes, ma'am. November 23rd and 24th. It is the Monday and Tuesday right before the Thanksgiving break.
All righty, Ms. Miller.
Hello, everyone. Sorry for my tardiness, but I was looking so tacky that I had to take some of that stuff off because I knew I was going to be streaming live. So look on Facebook. I was looking a good tacky mess today. But 8th grade, things are going good. Our teachers are currently just assessing face-to-face time versus when students are at home. We are noticing that students are not completing assignments while they're at home. So as a grade level, trying to determine the best way to motivate the students so that they are completing more at-home assignments, which will allow our teachers to maximize the instructional time during the face-to-face days to make sure that they are staying close to the pacing guide and the curriculum. And again, trying to ensure that the lessons that they are providing while the kids are at school are fun and engaging, of course, keeping in mind social distancing and things of that nature. In regards to the celebrations, that is pretty much across the grade level, just as with 6th grade and 7th grade stating the 23rd and the 24th. And thinking about our virtual students, definitely trying to process how can we, even though, like I said, they're not physically in the building, but how can we have a virtual celebration for them? Because, you know, we do have our students who are working very hard in the virtual world, as evident by parent emails, kids calling to check in just to say, hey, Ms. Miller, you know, I worked on my grade, I brought my grade up. As Ms. May said, and Mr. Madla, continuing the open lines of communication between the virtual academy teachers, virtual parents, as well as those who we have in school. By all means, just trying to make sure that we can maintain some structure and consistency as we continue to monitor, adjust, and adapt on a day-to-day basis with our current situation. But 8th grade, we are cruising right along. That's all I got, Mr. Moulton. I kept it brief today.
All righty. All right, so we'll ask some other individuals here. We'll go to Dr. Gant. Dr. Gant, if you have anything to share out to the school community.
Good evening, everyone. As Mr. Moulton mentioned, we are in the process of testing students for gifted and talented services. Students are taking the Cognate Assessment, which basically stands for cognitive abilities. And these students were identified based upon their fall 2020 MAP scores, either their reading or their math, and or their 2019 SC Ready reading or math scores. So those students scored very well, and so they were identified as students that could possibly benefit from receiving gifted and talented services. And so we are undergoing that testing. That testing will continue for the rest of this week as well as next week. As stated earlier, we definitely want to include our virtual academy students. So those students do have the opportunity to test next week. And those students have been notified via email, as well as they will receive a phone call home. One of the things that
I'm sorry, to repeat, their qualification is based upon which scores?
Their fall 2020 MAP scores and or their 2019 SC Ready scores. Okay. One of the things I've been working with the teachers on is to really create engaging activities for the students. And I think in doing so, we're also trying to find ways for students to see the value in their at-home assignments. So I know I've worked with teachers just to say, okay, try this activity in class. Let's make the at-school days very engaging so that students will see the connection between the at-home assignment and needing those prerequisite concepts hammered down or getting that foundation so that when they do come to school, they will be prepared and ready to do the labs or various activities that the teachers are planning for the students when they're at school. We also are getting ready to start our level professional development. Teachers filled out a survey on our early release day up until actually last week, determining what area they want to focus on with regard to growing leaders. We will definitely want to provide choice for our teachers as well, so that they can learn and demonstrate their competency within the students' classrooms. So they continue to learn, and as they continue to learn, the students will continue to learn. So those are some things we're working on, and we are finishing up Q1. And Mr. Odom came yesterday and helped provide professional development and any refresher help that needed to be given to teachers who may still need assistance with finishing up their Q1. So a lot of work going on at the Creek. Glad of the progress, and we're going to continue to make strides. So thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, Dr. Gant. Ms. Clipper, do you want to speak to the world of related arts?
Sure. We just finished 9 weeks. It's hard to believe, with our 6th graders, and I was kind of excited. My 6th grade group got to do a little performance for some of the other students in the auditorium. We did a little courtroom scene where they didn't put their hand on the Bible, but they raised their right hand, and we stayed 6 feet apart. And I had to get some teachers to play the role since our classes are so small, but the 6th graders I did have in there did a great job with it. So we changed 9 weeks with the 6th graders. 7th and 8th graders, we still have another 9 weeks to go. So we're anxious to receive new students on Thursday. I have a little concern about the auditorium lighting. I've shared it a little bit with Mr. Moten, a little bit with an email. I put in some requests, and I don't really know the proper way of adding that to the agenda. I talked a little bit with Les about it, but other than that, everything's going great if I can get everything working in the auditorium.
You'll be happy, but not necessarily satisfied to know that Paragon came today. So we put in multiple work orders. Yeah, we put in multiple work orders, and Paragon expedited the work order. Came in today and was unable, unfortunately, to find the issue. And he's going to drop a report and get it back to the central office to see what else needs to happen. He said it's just simply outside.
Did he check the sound system and everything?
He went from top to bottom.
Okay, good.
Get an echo somewhere.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
That's good news.
He's working on it. So I was pleased to see that you know, they expedited the work order, and you know, that's something that we just have to continue to stay on top of. Ms. Alexander does a great job, and so does Mr. Fields, of just constantly hammering those needs that we have as far as the building and the operation of the building and things of that nature. So I'm not sure. I asked the question, so where do we go from here? And he said, I'll drop a report. I will lay it out as detailed as possible. But unfortunately, I'm not sure. It's outside of my expertise. He mentioned that it could be the ballast of each one of those lights. It could be a customized wiring situation where, you know, whoever did the initial wiring did something that somebody's with more expertise in electricity will have to go in and take a look at that. But that's something that we'll continue to pursue, so that we don't continue to have to use the stage lights in order to try to get some lighting in.
Mr. Moore, you got muted somehow.
Okay, I was trying to let Clipper know she was muted and end up muting myself.
Oh, okay. Am I on now?
You are.
Okay. It might be helpful if Paragon talked to like either myself or Dr. Hildreth, somebody that knew a little bit about the sound and the like for example, the CD player is not working with the sound system. And you think, well, who uses CDs? Well, crazy enough, like the musicals, that's what they come with, a CD. So if maybe one of us could speak to it as well.
Okay, let's get with Mr. Alexander to get a work order in for the CD player and any other equipment, because he came specifically for the lights. I had
Okay,
already.
I put a work order in for the whole sound system a couple months ago, and even spoke to one of the district people that happened to be at the school, and they told Mr. Fields it was going to cost like $100,000, which sounds crazy to me, but I think we can do it for a lot less than that.
Okay.
But I'll talk with her tomorrow.
All right, we'll get another one in, and we'll just follow up that documentation on the additional work order, and anything that needs to be done, we'll go ahead and get that in, and then we'll put a note in that when someone comes out to take a look at it, that we get you and Dr. Hildreth in on the conversation so that you can show exactly what your needs are, and then we can take care of that. But like I mentioned, Dr. Gann and I, when we were trying to get some lighting in for the students who are taking the Cognate, immediately went to Miss Alexander. Then shortly thereafter, I got that long email that you so eloquently spelled out your grievances about that. So, but that's how we get things done. We're going to have to continue to do that, and that's why I appreciate this SIC, because we have great advocacy out of this group. And so we'll continue to push for our needs for our students. Mr. Brent, if you would, classroom teacher / PBIS, extraordinaire, expert, the man, the myth, all of that. If you would speak to our school community about your perspective as a classroom teacher, and then if you would update us all about what we do here at Dutchman Creek when it comes to recognizing our students and our staffs. You gotta unmute yourself.
All right, absolutely. Thank you. So echoing the concerns about students being able to get their work done at home, we have, as Ms. Gant said, put in a lot of work into doing primarily informational based instruction for the home days. So when they come in, we can be more hands-on, more formative, one-on-one, and making sure they really understand the information. So I think that it's improving, but it's still a missing piece. One of the things that we've been doing on the 7th grade hall, and I'm sure this is happening on the other halls as well, is we're also trying to make sure that we're cross-curricular, so that even though the students are only in the building 2 days a week, they'll hear those concepts in multiple classes. So in science, when we're doing ecology, I'm tying that in with a geography project. So they're doing a similar project in both classes that are touching on the same concepts. We do the same thing with math. We just got doing density. So we're doing, three-dimensional calculation of volume to be able to find the density of an object, which is related directly to what they're doing in math. And every time in my class, when we do a lab or an investigation, we tie in an ELA piece at the end where they have to use an ELA strategy, like the race strategy or GIST, when they do a reflection or a write-up. I hope you can hear me over the clock. Okay, it stopped. So, and I know that's happening in other parts of the building, just from having conversations with other teachers, but it's just an example of how in the classroom we're being innovative to overcome some of the challenges that are just part of this year, this first quarter. I would say that looking at my grades, I think the results that I've seen in the students that I've been working with are pretty comparable to any other year. It seems that if there's anything lower, it's the middle. People are either doing a whole lot better or they're struggling a little bit further behind, which is okay because we know where to work. But I wouldn't say that everybody's lagging in the model that we're in right now. As far as PBIS, the big thing with PBIS is recognizing the students so that we're helping Miss James and the other counselors taking care of the motivation and the psychological side of the students. And the way we do that is by primarily focusing on the adults. So we've got a program where the adults can recognize other adults, give what we call a Gator tooth. It comes with a nice Post-it note of a pleasant comment, thanks for helping me out last Friday. And then that's coupled with a reminder to give a shout out to a student. So then they can then do a quick 3-question survey that gets in the student's hands. So by creating this entire culture last year, I really think it's helped us this year rolling into the fall with already having this climate and this culture of support and integration. And you say shout out, everybody knows what you mean. It's gotten expanded to the M&Ms, the administration. They now are able to give a special shout out, occasionally, just a couple a week, for really outstanding performance. But the important thing is that making sure that the staff and faculty are feeling supported and recognized so that they will then turn around and do what they need to do to make sure they're taking care of the students.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brent. Are there any?
Sorry. I was going to piggyback off of what Mr. Brant said, and just in regards to the M&Ms, recognizing teachers and faculty members with the Gator Clause. We posted to Twitter, I think, a few weeks ago, a board that we're working on outside of the admin office called the Gator Spotlight. So M&Ms and Dr. Gant, we are taking a moment to highlight some of the teachers and some of the great things that we've seen within the building, whether it's from our front reception area all the way out to our bus loop. So we've kind of been churning and churning. When is the Gator Spotlight going to spotlight on you for our teachers? So we do have that coming out very soon. So that will be something that I'm quite sure that when it is posted, Mr. Moten will make sure it's on Facebook and Twitter. And I think Ms. Mays does the gram and those things. I'm just the word of mouth. So again, as Mr. Brant said, we're trying to find ways not only to motivate our students, but also motivate our teachers and just to recognize them for all the great work that they are doing so far. So Gator Spotlight coming out very, very soon.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Moten.
And does everybody know when we say M&Ms what we're talking about? I kind of figured that. I saw some looks. It just so happened that all 4 administrators, our last names begin with an M. So you have Principal Moten, then you got Mr. Modler, Ms. Mays, and Ms. Miller. And so we're affectionately known as the M&M. So around here, we just casually say the M&Ms and everybody knows it's the administrative staff. So when Mr. Brant first said it, then I saw the, like, what, M&Ms? But, we're known as the M&Ms, and we work well together. So, all right. Are there any questions from the committee for anyone, any of the faculty, staff, the M&Ms and the teachers? Any comments, wonders?
Yeah, I just want to commend you all for what you're doing, just listening here. The academic piece, of course, but particularly what you're doing to create a sense of normalcy. I love Spirit Week, the idea of having the drive-through veteran ceremony, just the things you all are doing that putting forth that extra effort to create a sense of normalcy, the recognitions, those things go a long way. And of course, you're emphasizing the academic piece, which is great, but particularly with what everyone's going through now, I can imagine how the students are enjoying what you all are doing to create that sense of normalcy and make it fun for them. So I commend you all for what you're doing there.
Thank you, Dr. Leonard. We decided that we wanted to be very intentional when it came to the social and emotional well-being of everybody. That includes not only the students and the families, but in order for them to receive the very best from us, we got to take care of each other. And so I certainly appreciate everybody's efforts. As building principal, oftentimes it may go unsaid, some of the things that, the work that I try to put in. And that there's a lot that goes into managing the school. But again, when it comes to the support, I've had the support of outstanding administrators and outstanding students, and then the kids and the families. They seem to recognize when I have a struggle and when I need that extra lift. So we're certainly trying to cultivate a culture of compassion and care for each other. And, the old saying, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. That's so true. So we appreciate you recognizing that on our behalf, Dr. Leonard. Anyone else? Question, comment?
I'd just like to say that you guys are doing an excellent job. I received emails inviting us to be included, and we appreciate that over here.
Yes, ma'am. We really mean it when we say that we are a village and a school community and a family. And so, whether you're here face to face or you're participating through the virtual academy, then we value each and every Gator here at Dutchman Creek. So, and we're going to get better at it.
And if our grades look anything like Canvas, we are on track.
Awesome. Great to hear. Anyone else?
And I will echo what Ms. Massey just said. And thank you, Mr. Modler, for, allowing the math videos to be posted on Canvas. That has been very helpful for my daughter. And I will say that she now has an A in math. And so that is worth like running, shouting, flipping, cartwheels, like everything that you can imagine, knowing my daughter in math. So for her to have an A, we are ecstatic. So thank you.
That's awesome. Anyone else? All righty. So we'll move forward on the agenda to address any old business. The last time we met, we were looking at filling 2 officers. Ms. Harvey ran pretty much unopposed for the vice chair position. So thank you, Ms. Harvey, for being willing to step up in that regard. And we appreciate Ms. SIC for jumping in there to fill in that vacancy as far as secretary. So we got that. The report to parents is due on November 15th. So I'm completing that. And Mr. Slater, I will make sure that you get an advanced copy of that so that can be submitted to the central office and then to the state. And then we had a couple of items, some things that I think we've already mentioned, some adjustments in Canvas to make sure that we can be responsive to the pacing and the estimation of time, and then some media that will help the students. And I think we've heard evidence of that being in place. And then we are working on the recognition of students. And so one of the things that we talked about, and I got to do a better job of getting it prepared for the SIC, is the recognition of students and staff. We had a lot that kind of come towards us right here as we got toward the end of the quarter. So the goal is still to make sure that we have within our report to the school community the opportunity to spotlight particular students and staff, like Ms. Miller said, the Gator Spotlight. And so that's still in development. So we appreciate your patience with that. It's one of those things where we want to do it so right that it might be taking a little bit longer than we would like for it to take, but it's going to be quality. And we're going to make sure that we spotlight those folks. Was there anything else outstanding that I left off before we move into anything that we need to address new?
I have a question about the spotlight. For Beta Club, Hannah did a book drive and she collected 51 books to donate to a daycare. Could I send something to y'all to put that in the spotlight? Because I think that was excellent.
Yeah, definitely. And, we count on you guys to spread the word to others in the community. Whenever our students are doing some great things in the community or where, please let us know. We'll include it in the spotlight, and we'll also included in the weekly This Week at Dutchman Creek newsletter. We like to, with the pictures and all of that. One of the things that I don't know how I managed to forget this, but one of our very own was recognized as secondary beginning teacher of the year, Miss Brown. So she was recognized by Rock Hill School. So again, we had a district-wide recognition. Want to say Mr. Brent, that's a former title of yours, correct?
Yep.
Yep. So, we continue to grow and develop those leaders. And so Ms. Brown.
And Mr. Moten was nominated as Principal of the Year. Mr. Moten, nominated Principal of the Year.
Yes, ma'am. I was one of the finalists. So I appreciate that honor, recognized by my staff. And then there was another round of qualifiers. And so I made it to the finals, but, Miss Khalid over at Oakdale, very deserving. So congratulations to her. Known her for a long time. And so certainly have no problems losing out to Miss Khalid. She's excellent. And so thank you for recognizing that, Miss Clipper. But yeah, Miss Brown was an early contract. She was one that interned here through Winthrop. And we recognized her, got an eye on her early, and contacted Dr. Campbell at the district office and said, we need to go ahead and lock her in because somebody's going to get an excellent teacher and we want that somebody to be us. And so she was offered a contract early and she certainly outlived that. First year being recognized as the best in all of secondary here in Rock Hill School. So thank you for reminding me of that, Ms. Clipper. All right, so we'll go ahead and move on to any new items that we would like to address as a SIC. Ms. Clipper mentioned the maintenance. There are some structural things. I met with Dr. Wallace at the central office about some technological upgrades that we're looking at. A lot of the wiring and the cabling and the communication equipment is the original equipment when the school was built in 2008. So it's well overdue for an overhaul. There was something that was on the ticket for the bond referendum. Had it gone up for vote and had it passed, then there was some things that they were looking at doing some upgrades. But what we have, we want to make sure is working. So we're trying to address the auditorium to make sure that's up to par. And then there are a few things here and there that we're trying to make sure that our students have the very best of what we have, and we provide all of that quality for them. Is there anything else new that we want to address tonight as a SIC? All right, that's about 7 seconds of wait time. And that's fine. One of the things that we'll continue to do is to communicate out. And so, feel free to email or call. Everybody should have my cell number. If you don't, just shoot me an email and I'll make sure that we exchange. And, if something comes up, and again, I ask that you serve as our advocates in the community, our eyes and ears. And if there's something that comes across, then, you certainly just reach back out to us so that we can be aware and we can kind of spread our reach through the SIC to everyone in the school community. All right, so we're right here at the end. Is there any other items, anything that was left off, any other celebrations, things to be aware of as we come up pretty soon to Thanksgiving break? I think we'll all be thankful for a break, but we work hard, and so we're definitely going to need and deserve that rest whenever it comes. All righty. So, like they say in church, if all hearts and minds are clear, may the Lord watch me. Now we have someone for another. Y'all know it. All right. Well, if that's all, then again, thank you so much for being our rock and our support in the school community as a SIC. And at this time, we will adjourn